And the movie on the review table today is the Nollywood short film Siraam. As the inaugural installment of the Zikoko Life anthology, Siraam arrives with the confidence of a filmmaker who understands that the most compelling stories are often the most personal. Released in July 2026, the Nigerian coming-of-age short is written and directed by Uzoamaka Power and anchored by a talented cast that includes Genoveva Umeh, Shawn Faqua, Amara Nnanna, and Natse Jemide. Set against the relentless pace of Nigeria's creative industry, Siraam follows a fiercely ambitious young woman determined to build a career while wrestling with the emotional weight of friendship, romance, and sexual and reproductive health. Rather than reducing its themes to familiar coming-of-age cliches, the film embraces nuance, exploring the difficult intersections of ambition, identity, and personal responsibility with maturity and emotional intelligence. Premiering on Zikoko's YouTube channel, Siraam is more than just a promising debut for the anthology. It is a thoughtful and culturally grounded drama that reflects the realities of an entire generation striving to define success on its own terms. I'll admit, YouTube premieres are rarely where I go looking for standout filmmaking. Over the years, I've grown increasingly selective about reviewing Nollywood films released directly on the platform. Not because the medium lacks potential, but because too many productions have mistaken accessibility for quality. Add to that the unfortunate tendency of some filmmakers to respond to unfavorable reviews with copyright complaints or attempts to silence criticism, and it's easy to understand why I've largely kept my distance from that corner of the industry. Yet, here I am reviewing another YouTube release. The reason is simple: Siraam earned it. A friend strongly recommended the film, insisting it was worth my time. So, I decided to set aside my reservations and give it a chance. What I expected was another disposable online release. What I found instead was a refreshingly confident piece of filmmaking that immediately exceeded my expectations. More surprising than the fact that I enjoyed the film was why I enjoyed it. Yes, the story is engaging, but what truly elevates Siraam is the level of care evident behind the camera. Every frame reflects thoughtful planning, deliberate execution, and a creative team determined to produce something that feels polished rather than rushed. Clocking in at just under 40 minutes, the film wastes none of its runtime. Every scene serves a purpose, every interaction builds character, and every visual choice contributes to the story's emotional texture. Instead of feeling constrained by its short format, Siraam uses its brevity as an advantage, delivering a narrative that remains focused, layered, and emotionally satisfying. From a technical standpoint, the production is where the film truly distinguishes itself. The cinematography is consistently impressive, capturing both intimate character moments and wider compositions with confidence. Even more striking is the lighting, which is among the strongest I've seen in a recent Nollywood production. Rather than simply illuminating scenes, it enhances mood, depth, and atmosphere, giving the film a cinematic polish that many larger productions fail to achieve. The visuals are not entirely flawless. Two moments briefly disrupt the film's otherwise consistent aesthetic. The sequence in which the lead actress records an audition features an image quality that feels noticeably disconnected from the rest of the production, while the daytime scene in which her male friend arrives to pick her up also lacks the same visual refinement seen elsewhere. These are minor blemishes rather than major distractions, and they stand out precisely because the rest of the film maintains such a high visual standard. Outside of those isolated moments, Siraam is a remarkably handsome production. It demonstrates that cinematic ambition isn't determined by budget or runtime, but by craftsmanship, preparation, and an unwavering commitment to quality. Visually, this is one of the most accomplished Nigerian short films to emerge on YouTube in recent memory, and it raises the bar for what audiences should expect from digital-first Nollywood storytelling. As I mentioned earlier, Siraam is a film I genuinely enjoyed, not simply because of the story it tells, but because of the confidence with which it tells it. There are moments when its messaging leans so heavily into conversations around sexual and reproductive health that it briefly feels reminiscent of a public awareness campaign or even a well-produced condom advertisement. Yet, to the film's credit, it never loses sight of its emotional core. Rather than becoming preachy or overly instructional, it successfully weaves its message into a heartfelt coming-of-age narrative that feels authentic, relatable, and unmistakably Nigerian. Perhaps the film benefits from the economy of its format. At under 40 minutes, the filmmakers had little room for unnecessary detours or narrative excess, forcing every scene to justify its place. But brevity alone doesn't guarantee quality. What truly stands out is the discipline behind the storytelling. Every creative decision feels deliberate, every emotional beat carefully measured, and every technical element executed with the kind of professionalism more commonly associated with a feature-length production. That level of craftsmanship deserves genuine recognition. It also raises an intriguing question. Would Siraam have maintained this same narrative precision and visual consistency if it had been expanded into a 1 hour 50-minute or 2-hour feature? Given Nollywood's well-documented tendency to stretch promising ideas beyond their natural limits, often sacrificing pacing and narrative cohesion in the process, it's a fair question to ask. The answer, however, is ultimately irrelevant. As a short film, Siraam understands exactly what it wants to be, and more importantly, it knows when to stop. It delivers its story with clarity, confidence, and admirable restraint, qualities that many full-length productions could learn from. On its own terms, it stands as one of the more accomplished Nigerian short films released in recent years. Short films leave actors with very little margin for error. There isn't enough runtime to recover from weak performances or underdeveloped characters. If the cast fails to establish an emotional connection almost immediately, the entire production risks collapsing under its own weight. Fortunately, Siraam never faces that problem. The film is anchored by an exceptional lead performance from Genoveva Umeh, who proves herself to be the emotional and dramatic backbone of the production. She commands the screen with remarkable assurance, delivering a performance rich with subtlety, vulnerability, and emotional intelligence. Every expression, every pause, and every line feels lived in rather than performed. She resists the exaggerated theatrics and excessive shouting that too often plague Nollywood performances, opting instead for restraint, authenticity, and quiet confidence. That measured approach elevates not only her own work, but also the performances of Shawn Faqua, Amara Nnanna, and Natse Jemide. Strong performances have a way of lifting an entire ensemble, and Umeh's presence does exactly that, creating a natural chemistry that strengthens every major interaction in the film. Simply put, Genoveva Umeh doesn't just lead Siraam. She carries it with the poise of an actress operating at the top of her craft. If this performance is any indication of what's to come, Nollywood has every reason to be excited about her future. And now for my rating. Siraam scores an impressive 7 out of 10. Behind the mask, we see all. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon for notifications. Also, be sure to follow me on TikTok, WhatsApp channel, and Instagram at Dominus Cinephile for more movie and TV series reviews. Dominus Cinephile, signing out.